Hey buddy, what's going on? Welcome back into Old Mountain Bricks. We've got some work to do in our Lego city overall, but of course keep working on our campground and nature area right down here. We've got some exciting progress to make on that today. We also need to put our construction vehicles back in the city, get them back at work on the next modular building we're hoping to add here soon. So I think those are attainable goals for us today. Some are definitely going to take longer than others, and that's okay, but we're excited to keep moving and chugging along here, so let's jump into it. So first up, we've got to get our Lego passport ready to go because we're going to do some more Lego traveling here. So we've got two different ones with different stores, of course, we've been to around the US here, and we're going to visit some more here as well, so always need to do that. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on the exciting place we're going next. Let's go ahead and start with the construction vehicles, as I think that'll be a fun thing to do. So of course, if you're new here, this is the area we're working on the floor at the moment. After today's adventure, we'll be able to work on it a lot easier as well, but we'll get to that in just a moment. But I'd like to leave them out of the way for there. But over in this section is where they've kind of lived before, normally in this little square right behind the Avengers Tower. Right there. So I think we can either put them back there, or we could possibly have them working kind of on the road back there where the Avengers complex got torn down a couple episodes ago by accident. So I think that seems the more obvious way, as it will look much more realistic than kind of throwing them right into just an empty base plate for now. But otherwise, the city is still moving and grooving, don't you worry, folks. But let's get those construction vehicles over here. Here's the first angle of the construction there. You got the scoopy scoop really getting in there to clear out some of that debris. You've got this guy picking up a little glass panel. I actually didn't have a good place for the cement mixer, but he will come in handy later on. We've got the forklift lifting some stuff, and we've got the construction guys all in there with wheelbarrows and picking things up that'll hopefully get this ready for the next modular building coming very soon. And here it is from this angle as well. You can see a little bit more of that detail and some of the construction workers and the barricades we set up there to keep the ice cream folks from going through there. Now let's get on to the main event for the update. So what we're planning to do today, just to kind of lay it out here for you, is we need to break this up into sections now and actually do the MILS plate work, because we don't want to build directly on a MILS plate other than this little section right here. That's going to actually allow us to use the MILS system properly by integrating landscape, aka a river in this case. So we need to make sure we break it up so we can then carry this whole thing back into the city over there when it's all finished up. So I think the easiest way we're going to do it here is I'm going to break up these four, this 1.5, and then all of that together. The only thing I don't know what to do is those plates right in the back there. That might need to be a separate one, but we'll just kind of have to see how it goes. So we're going to play around with the wedge place just a little bit now to make sure that we are able to do that. So let's set up a little time lapse and we'll work on that first. Okay, so basically what I've done, if you aren't able to really tell on the camera, is that I've made this a quadrant. You can see this little black brick kind of holding these four together. So now I'm able to pull out those four, and you can see that there's nothing coming over from the other side other than this little supporting brick, which I can now remove. I'm going to pull out each of these sections at a time in order to now work on them more closely on the desk. So let's go ahead and pull out the Sanderson Sisters Cottage and bring plate number 1 up to the desk. Okay, and here is that first quadrant from the nature area up here on the desk. So in order to not confuse myself, this is going to be how you're looking at it from the front of the table. So the Sanderson Sisters Cottage is right there, will be placed here, kind of facing that way, and this is where the water wheel was, and the river kind of went on that way. So that way we can kind of keep the right perspective that we're working on. So what we need to do first is we need to MILS plate this. So if you look at our Lego beach area, make sure you check out the videos where we improved that about a year ago. It starts at base plate height. That's why it gets a little bit of a curve there. And then goes up to 1 brick and then up to 2 brick. So where this is starting, this is where that Sanderson Sisters Cottage is. Again, we don't know what we're doing with the treehouse right now, but let's just pretend. So we need to start at least 2 bricks in order for it to be level right here. So is it going to make sense to have it butt to butt like that? I don't know, but I think that's going to be a good start because that goes down, let's see, I believe 2.5 base plates worth of 2 bricks high. So I think like the table edge, aka the Sanderson Sisters Cottage, is going to be here. This is where our table starts, is this way. So we're looking at it on the table from this angle. So these 2 base plates right here are going to need to be 2 bricks high to be the same as what's behind it. So now translating that over, again, this needs to be 2 bricks high at least for the Sanderson Sister Cottage to start on, which is going to be hard to have the water wheel work how we want. So we might have to inset the Sanderson Sisters Cottage a little bit, but we'll just kind of see what that looks like as we move along with it. But I think that'll be the plan to do that. So start 2 bricks high with the MILS and then gradually transition to at least 1, I think, in the middle. We'll save time. We'll save a number of parts, but then I don't want too much elevation in the middle section. So let's go ahead and grab some 2x2 bricks and get started with that. Because this side is going to be table edge, we are going to use our precious 2x4 green brick on our brick stick, trademark, in order to kind of fill that in a little bit. It's going to use a lot just to kind of make a nice little clean wall on the side, but I think it'll be well worth it at the end there. Okay, so just to give you an idea, so it would start at the 2 brick high point, and at least for now, we're just going to put down some of these 16x16s just to kind of fill it in, and if we need to tear them off later to add more details, we can, but that'll help at least get us up to the right height that we want to be. So at least this section here, again, is going to be raised up to this. So once it completes here, we're then going to have it transition down by 1 brick to the next level here. So we'll just do it right on the base plate, just like that. So we might need to fill in this section with green if we end up doing something like that, is the only downside to doing that, because then it becomes exposed in the middle. So I think we'll end up doing that. So let's go ahead and put some of the green brick in there as well. There you go. So it would look something like this. So then if we transition down, it'll just go down that 1 plate like that instead. So if we put the plate right here, you can't see it, but there's that row of green that'll show through, and then we can put the other plate there, and it'll have that line of green. Alright, so I went ahead and added in the green plate on top, just temporarily for now, while we kind of see how this is all going to fit together. So, as you can see, the Sanderson Sisters Cottage does not fit embedded in here without it jetting over onto these plates here, so we'd have to tear some of that out if we're going to do that. In order for the water wheel, it's kind of hard to see, sorry, for it to kind of make sense, otherwise it's going to be floating way too high in the sky. Because this is an exaggeration, but you can see this is the base plate down here, obviously. But then the water wheel comes up about 2-ish bricks. If we placed the water wheel like this, let's just say like over here, but just raised up like it is on this section, it does go up those 2 bricks-ish and a plate or so. So it would be pretty high. I mean, it could be that the river just kind of ran dry a long time ago, or just isn't as high up as it used to be, which I think would also still make sense. So that's why I'm not too concerned about embedding it directly into the river here. We can raise up the bank pretty high on this side to make it seem like the water used to be higher up, but then no longer is for whatever reason. So that might be the way to kind of make that work, but we still have to make this fit. So I think we are going to go ahead and MILS plate this section over here as well, leaving some gaps over here, so it won't be a full 16 by 16 right here. And that'll give us some room to kind of work the water wheel in with the actual creek MILS plating.
6.5 hours later.
Okay, so I've thought about it for a little bit, so I think we are going to move forward with raising this plate up right here to the 2 bricks tall height and trying to get this in at an angle as well. So, and we'll just deal with the water wheel and kind of see what that looks like. The only difference is we're not going to raise it up here as high, I think, or at least use like a 16 by 16. But the rest of it, I think, will definitely work out. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so I've made a right mess over here, kind of just trying to figure this out, and I'll show you some of the details in a second. So we went ahead and just added some slope work in here to just be able to place this at just the right angle, so the water wheel could have theoretically spun here at one time, but maybe the riverbed has went down, so it no longer can. We also added a few more of these studs in here that will eventually put transparent blue like tiles over. The only thing different about this is throughout the rest of the little creek here is going to have these wedge plates, but right here I didn't do it for this kind of purpose, so hopefully that doesn't come to bite me because it's easier to kind of blend in when you have those wedge plates kind of built in there, but I think it'll probably be okay. Just might look a little strange at the end here. I know this section right in here will need a little bit of work once we get to it, just to maybe widen it just a stud or two when we get there. But I think placing the Sanderson Sisters Cottage is going to work out pretty well. So let's move that out of the way. So let me show you that. So when you move that, here's what it looks like underneath. We just kind of use some different plate in here because it's not really going to be seen, but even if it is, this is kind of a look we're going to be going for, plus vegetation, plus extra plates and such there. The only thing with putting a building at an angle like this is it is going to float a little bit, so I've tried to put a few wedge plates in here to kind of help lock it in place just a little bit so I know exactly where to put it when I do, and I think that's going to work out pretty well when we do that. So just to kind of do it in reverse now, so when we slide this thing over, we kind of turn it just like that so it then fits entirely on the base plate. This maybe sticks over just a little bit with the flower, but I'm not too worried about that. It can maybe scoot forward just a little bit, but all of this plate work here does carry over, and eventually we'll add like a little path up front as well. But that gives us a little bit of room back here to maybe add something, because I think that'll connect up to the back of the old fishing store as well. So that's fine. And once this is removed, we'll then have access to the interior of the Sanderson Sisters Cottage as well. So in case you ever know we need to do that, we will have it there. So like I said, we've made a pretty big mess here, but I think we've done enough damage for today. This is going to be one of our big work in progresses in the Lego City. So make sure you leave a comment down below of any suggestions or thoughts of what you want to see here, as we're going to hopefully just kind of edit this a little bit to put more paths in and of course other nature and stuff. But I think getting just the base plates and the MILS plate work at this point is going to be helpful. We're going to probably drop it down a plate here as we discussed to kind of get it down to this same level over here, and I think that'll help a lot as well. But I think this is starting to look great right here, and we've made a lot of good progress, so I think we'll leave it there for today. So make sure you leave a like on the way up, subscribe so you don't miss the next Lego City update, and until next time, thanks for coming on by today. Have a good one.